Hey guys, welcome back into Legacy. So today is going to be the last Dragon Warriors video. And today we're going to cover the rules of combat. The best part of this game for me, because it's actually one of the more numerous parts of this game. You're going to spend a lot of time in this game fighting. So, combat. Okay, combat is not a complicated system in this game. In fact, I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pages of the rules. Considering it's one of the heaviest parts of the game, or heavily used parts of the game, you'd think it'd take more than 6 pages, but that just shows the simplicity of the system. So, this is where we're going to go back to our original attribute scores, and we're going to talk about attack scores, defense. And we'll talk a little bit about spell magic in here, because there is some stuff about magic that is kind of important to combat in general, but I'm not going to get too deep into magic, because magic is a totally different beast. And I'm not going to do a full video just on the magic system. We've covered a lot of it in the classes. The only thing we really haven't covered is like willfully allowing spells to affect you and things like that. And that's deep mechanics. I'm not going to try to delve too much into those. Okay, guys. Combat in this game is pretty simple. Well, there is no initiative roll. That is one of the freaky deaky parts of this game. Generally speaking, you go in descending reflex order. So if somebody has a reflex of 11, they go before the person with reflex 10. Which is why monster stats are actually important. Yay, monster stats! So there's some really good monster stats in there. That being said, you go descending reflex order, and then you attack each other. There's a fairly simple procedure for combat in this game. You roll a d20. You're trying to get under a number equal to your attack score minus the opponent's defense. So if you have an attack score of 12, they have a defense of 5, you're trying to roll under 7. Not complicated. Then if you hit them, you do what's called an armor bypass roll. If you bypass their armor, then you do damage equal to your weapon. And if they're still above 0, you continue to fight. Not complicated. But then I'm going to get into a couple of these little parts about what is an armor bypass roll, how do you determine what die you roll, using shields and all that fun stuff. So, real quick, guys. Just to outline 2 hits. 1d20, which is weird because other parts of the game use 2d10 and they should have standardized that, but fuck it. You can always adjust it if you wanted to. On the 1d20 roll, a 20 is always a miss no matter what combat factors are applied, and a 1 is always a critical hit no matter what combat factors are applied. And in fact, a 1 bypasses armor bypass rolls. You automatically just go straight through. So that's the 1d20 roll. Armor bypass. Every bit of armor in this game is going to be rated based on how tough it is to penetrate it. Plate armor, of course, is going to be harder than a Gambion, things like that. So, Gambison, sorry, Gambion, something different. Gambison, yikes. Fuck, you can tell I'm half awake. So, what you do is when you swing a weapon is rated kind of simply on the tables. Will give you the name of the weapon, and then it'll give you in parentheses, it'll give you a die code, and then a number of points. What the die code is your armor bypass die. So if I roll on the proverbial number for second go 7 or under, right? Well, I hit him. Do I penetrate his armor? Well, I'm going to roll a 1d8 to see. So let's pretend he's wearing padded armor. I need to roll 2 or greater on the 1d8. If I roll greater than 2, I penetrated his armor. Boom. Period. End discussion. That's how you do that. The points are the amount of damage that you deal with the weapon standard. There are ways to increase your damage. Certain class traits and things like that will increase your damage. All that fun stuff. So that's pretty simple. It's real fun to get that way. So you can move into combat. You can move into combat as long as you're roughly 2.5 meters away from the opponent and still attack in the same round. Otherwise, you have to move in prior to it. That's standard role-playing mechanics. Humans can move up to 10 meters, so they can move up to a quarter of their movement and still strike in the same round. Not difficult to understand that rule at all. Okay. Strength is really fun, too. Okay. If you have a 16, 17, 18 strength, you get +1 to your armor bypass and damage rolls, or damage. If it's 18 or greater, it's +2. Again, guys, none of these rules are very complicated. These are, sorry, screen went black on me. I keep forgetting it does that on OBS. Um, you will always get that. None of this is complicated, guys. Shields. On a shield, when you have a shield, anytime you get struck, you can roll a 1d6. If you roll a 1, the blow is deflected, nothing happens. Again, super simple. Okay, fighting more than one person. This is where things can be fun. Okay, so if, say you've got three orcs on you and they're trying to slaughter you. Well, what do? Well, first off, it's not like D&D where your armor class equally applies. Because if it was like D&D, it wouldn't be Dragon Warriors. You have to divide up your defense equally. Or up, I said equally up. I'm trying to phrase this right. You have to divide it up in totality. That's the term I was thinking of. Against each opponent. Up to 3. If you're more than 3 people are surrounding you, you're just fucked. You don't get to apply your defense against anyone above 3. So basically the way this is going to work is if you have a defense of, say, 6, you can put 2 points of defense towards each opponent. Or you could say you've got 2 guys that do 2 points of damage apiece, and 1 guy that does 6. You can dump 5 of it against the guy that does 6, 1 of it against another opponent. You can do it however you want as long as it totals 6. Said no more than 3 opponents. Cat, please get off. That's why I don't want you on the table. Go. Knocked a bunch of stuff over. I gotta clean this desk off. That's the sign from the gods. I need to clean the desk off. Like I said, guys, nothing complicated there. That's a pretty simple thing. Okay, wounds and recovery. If you hit 0 hit points, you pass out. If you hit -3, you die. There is no way around this. There's very limited resurrection magic, limited healing magic. Every full minute you're knocked out, you make a d6 roll. If you roll a 1, you wake up at 1 hit point. There you go. Magical healing heals you instantaneously, of course. Natural healing. This is where it gets fun. If you naturally heal, 4-day minimum. This is a very brutal system. So 4-day minimum. You have to wait at least 4 days. And then you begin gaining health points back equal to your rank per day till you're at your maximum. So a first rank character could take forever. Could take several weeks. Okay. So missile combat. Again, missile combat's not hard. So the way they phrase this, most characters cannot parry an arrow. In order to score a hit on an opponent, Archer must simply roll equal to or less than your attack. There you go. So basically, you don't get defense against range, which makes range super deadly if you run into a horde of people using ranged. Because even if it doesn't matter if you have the best defense in the world, if they have great attack scores, you're fucked. Just get used to that. Okay. There are adjustments, though, to the D20. Range, lighting, movement, if you're crouching, all those things can come into play, and GMs can come up with new ones. Like if you're behind cover, for example, they're going to take penalties. So there you go. That's range combat in a nutshell, guys. Not hard. We talked about this a little bit when we were doing through classes. There are penalties for certain classes wearing certain types of armor. I'm not going to get into all of them, but on page 71, if you want to look at it, there is a whole table of it. They affect attack and defense because you're wearing armor you're not supposed to be wearing. Instead of saying you just can't wear it, sure you can wear it. You're just going to get the crap beat out of you. Okay. And the last thing, there's 2 last things real quick that we'll go through, and then, well, 3 technically. Combat round is split up. There's a lot of things you can do. Here's an example of the actions you can take. You can parachute an arrow, discharge a loaded crossbow, attack with a weapon, partial loaded crossbow, which, by the way, takes 3 rounds to reload a crossbow. Draw weapons, cast spells, take out scrolls, take out potions, read a scroll, drink a potion, activate a magical device, make a normal move, run. Those are the things you can do. Some of the things you can do in combat. Those are most common. So that's a pretty simple list. Again, guys, none of this is complicated, so I certainly hope I've conveyed how simple combat in this game is. The last 2 things we're going to talk about real quick. Before I talk about evading attacks, I want to talk about how to get out of combat. Say you want to get out of combat, and you want to run. Well, you don't just get to turn around and run, unfortunately, because your opponent is still trying to kill you, whether you like that or not. So what you can do is you can move up to a quarter of your movement. Again, for humans, that's 2.5 meters by backing up slowly. And if your opponent the next turn does not pursue you, say he gets engaged by another enemy or whatever, or he's already engaged by another enemy and doesn't follow you, the next turn you can turn around and take off. You cannot just turn around and take off. You will get stabbed. So what happens if you just turn around? You're considered to be routing, which gives you a defense of bam, zip. You're doomed. You get no defense against something that may have a really high attack score or have a lot of damage output. You do not want to do that very often. So bad idea. So getting out of combat is important. Last thing we're talking about, it's a little out of order because this is actually backwards in order, is evasion. Okay, what happens in combat if somebody tries to throw a fireball at you? Somebody knocks down a rock trap and it rolls like Indiana Jones at you. How do I get out of the way? This is where the evasion score comes involved. So what you're going to do is you're going to have a speed score of the item that's coming at you, and you're going to roll 2d10, not 1d20. What you're going to do is your evasion score is going to subtract the speed of the attack from it. Then you're going to try to roll under that new score. Again, simple math. I have a 10 evasion. I'm getting attacked by a speed 5. I need to roll under a 5 on 2d10. Nothing hard here. So things can be really fast. I mean, speed scores on the typical attack speed stuff can get up to 20. Some things you're just not going to get the fuck out of the way of. And that's how evasion works. So if you're in a situation where you can't possibly evade, your evasion is always 0. So say you're climbing up the side of a wall and somebody's shooting fireballs at you. You can't exactly dodge out of the way. You're getting hit. So it's a very simplistic system for combat. I certainly hope I've conveyed through this book as much as I can about just the mechanics, how much I love it. Eventually, I will probably come back and do a full Land of Legend review, like the world itself. But right now, I just want to stop where I'm at because I think it's important just to talk about the mechanics and what makes the game run and what I think makes the game great outside of the land, outside of the lore. It's a wonderful game, terribly abused, terribly misunderstood outside of the foreign markets, particularly UK, Australia, New Zealand. It was a British game originally. But those 3 territories absolutely loved it. I think it's still pretty big out in those areas, but it should be able to gain traction here because I really do think it's a good middle ground between George R. R. Martin and D&D. It's gritty, it's dangerous, it's deadly. However, you can survive most things if you're smart. You have to learn how to fight intelligently, not just outright fight. My cat's going to jump in that bag back there, isn't she? I saw her in the camera, sorry guys. You got to learn to fight intelligently, not just fight. You need to know when to run as much as when to fight. There's a lot of things to this game that are very subtle and mechanically subtle, but nothing is so complicated. Guys, keep in mind, the whole rules, that's it. And a good portion of that is taken up by lore and monster stats. So like if I go in here, so wondrous, that's, yeah, we'll consider it. So rewards of adventuring, that's a mechanical thing. So sorry, I'm trying to find the, yeah, I guess I'm gonna count that one because on the front page. Okay, that's all lore. From magic items through monster stats and how they perform in the world through the Land of Legend itself. So roughly only about half of this book is rules. And that includes the spell chapters, by the way. I'm considering them rules. So guys, seriously, consider checking it out if you have it. If you have checked it out and you like it, please let me know in the comments. I would love to know if somebody else has been watching these videos and finding new things to enjoy. The whole purpose of me finding these games and bringing them back to you guys and saying, hey, let's break these games down, is to get you guys to try some new stuff. Or even take a look at some stuff maybe you've never tried before. Either way, guys, hopefully, what the heck was that? Somebody, cat or something somewhere. I'm not sure what that is. Hear noises. Probably one of the cats in the bathroom. Sorry, guys. I'm getting distracted. But, do let me know. And let me know what you think of it if you look into it. It's a very good game. It's very quietly a good game. and it's very, very, very fun if you want to play a more gritty, dark fantasy type setting with Magic. Because the way it handles Magic, the way it handles the real world, and Magic is not all-encompassing, all-powerful. You can do whatever the hell you want Force. You can still be killed very easily, even if you have Magic on your side. So guys, that's all I got to say about Dragon Warriors. Thoughts, comments, questions, concerns below. As always, we hope you continue having fun, and we do hope to see you guys around the game table.